The first time I saw Evelyn Carter's ranch, I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I couldn't believe one woman lived on nearly 6,000 acres by herself. Rolling fields stretched farther than my eyes could follow. Horses grazed beneath old oak trees. Windmills turned lazily against the blue Texas sky. It looked less like a ranch and more like a kingdom. I had only come to repair her irrigation system. After 20 years as a ranch mechanic, I'd seen wealthy owners who hired entire crews just to replace a broken fence. But Evelyn opened the front door herself. She wore dusty boots, faded jeans, and a work shirt with grease stains on the sleeves. "You must be Daniel," she said with a tired smile. "And you must be the owner who refuses to retire." She laughed. "If I retire, this place dies." For 3 days, I repaired pumps, tractors, and miles of broken water lines. During lunch breaks, she told me about her late husband, Thomas. "He built all of this," she whispered one afternoon while watching the horses. "He passed away 5 years ago." "I'm sorry. My children left long before that." I frowned. "They don't help. They only come when they think I'm ready to sign something." That sentence stayed with me. On my last afternoon, 3 luxury SUVs rolled through the ranch gate. A man in an expensive suit stepped out first. Behind him came 2 women wearing sunglasses worth more than my pickup truck. Evelyn sighed. "My children." The oldest son barely hugged her. "Mom." His sister looked around. "You're still paying people to fix this place?" "I'm maintaining it." "You're wasting money." I quietly packed my toolbox, pretending not to listen. But they weren't pretending. "This ranch should be sold. You don't need all this land. We already have investors waiting." Evelyn's face hardened. "I'm still alive." Her son smiled. "Exactly. Which is why you should make things easy now." That night, while finishing paperwork in the barn, I accidentally overheard them. "If she refuses again, we'll have the doctors declare her incapable. Then we'll control everything." My stomach dropped. The next morning I warned Evelyn. She wasn't surprised. "I've known for months." "Why didn't you tell anyone? Who would believe an old widow?" I looked across the endless fields. "Your ranch is too big." She stared at me for several seconds. Then, almost too quietly to hear. "Then stay and take care of it." She swallowed hard. "And me?" Before I could answer, a sheriff's truck pulled into the driveway. And Evelyn's son stepped out behind it, smiling. Part 2, The Promise That Changed Everything. The sheriff removed his hat. "Mrs. Carter, your children requested a welfare check." Her son crossed his arms confidently. "We're concerned about her mental health." Evelyn looked exhausted. Daniel stepped beside her. "Concerned?" The daughter interrupted. "She forgets appointments. She talks to strangers. She refuses medical advice." Daniel couldn't stay silent. "No. She fixes fences at sunrise. She remembers every horse by name. She manages payroll better than most businesses. What she's refusing is being manipulated." The sheriff listened carefully. Then Evelyn quietly walked inside. She returned carrying a thick leather folder. "Thomas and I prepared for this years ago." Inside were medical evaluations proving she was perfectly healthy. There were security recordings from the barn. Hidden cameras had captured every conversation her children thought no one heard. Including, "If she refuses again, we'll have her declared incompetent." Silence filled the porch. The sheriff's expression changed immediately. "I think we're done here." The children were furious. "You planned this?" Evelyn shook her head. "No. I simply refuse to underestimate greed." Within weeks, attorneys filed restraining orders. The children challenged the estate in court. They lost. Every recording. Every document. Every lie. Destroyed their case. Months passed. Daniel kept coming back. First to repair fences. Then to help during calving season. Then simply because Evelyn smiled whenever his truck appeared. One evening they sat on the porch watching the sunset paint the fields gold. "You never answered me," Evelyn said softly. "Answered what?" "When I asked you to stay." Daniel smiled. "I thought you meant the ranch." "I did." She reached for his hand. "But I also meant breakfast. Lunch. Dinner. Every Christmas." He laughed until tears filled his eyes. "So. A full-time position? The most important one." A year later, the entire town gathered beneath the oldest oak tree on the property. Not for an auction. Not for a funeral. For a wedding. The minister smiled. "What brings these two together?" An old ranch hand shouted from the crowd. She needed someone to help with the ranch. Everyone laughed. Daniel looked at Evelyn. "You know. I still think this ranch is too big." She squeezed his hand. "Maybe. But love has a funny way of making big things feel like home." Years later, children ran through the fields again. Not because they wanted an inheritance. Because they had a family. The ranch remained exactly where Thomas had dreamed it would. Protected. Loved. Alive. And every evening, as the sun disappeared beyond the hills, Daniel would wrap an arm around Evelyn and smile. The greatest thing he had ever taken care of was never the land. It was the woman who had trusted him with her heart.